Jurassic Park is iconic. From the soundtrack to the story to the logo, this movie has been enshrined in film culture as a must-watch by critics. But I am not a film critic. And as someone who's basically a regular guy, I wondered, how do I feel about this movie? Is Jurassic Park truly great in my eyes, or is it a fossil from a very different decade that doesn't quite fit alongside my more modern tastes? Those were the questions running through my head when I decided to watch it for the first time in over a decade. I remember having fond memories of this movie, but nostalgia has a tendency of altering our perceptions of the past. Also, I was a teenager, so my thoughts and tastes were noticeably different from where they are today. So, with a now fully developed frontal lobe, a comfortable couch, and 2.5 hours of free time, I logged into Hulu back when it was available on Hulu, which was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but stuff changes anyways, and I watched Jurassic Park. Now, here are my thoughts. The way that the dinosaurs were introduced was attention-grabbing. The opening shot showing the team trying to get the raptor into its enclosure was intense, serious, and laced with danger. The choice to never actually show the dinosaur in this scene felt fitting. It served as both a taste of what was to come later on in the movie, and it stood opposed to the first scene where we actually saw the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. This scene was steeped in fear, and while we never saw the culprit, we saw what it was capable of. The later scene, the one where we see the dinosaurs for the first time, was full of wonder and awe, and that was due in large part to the actual reveal of the dinosaurs, and also the amazing score that built up the moment. This duality serves to showcase the dual nature of this entire experience. Yes, there is wonder, there is amazement given the circumstances, but terror and the threat of death are equally as present. Now, I really enjoyed this. Getting a taste of what was to come while being lured to a false sense of peace was effective and seemingly mirrored what the cast was also experiencing. I knew something they didn't, but given their individual expertise, they were fully aware of the potential dangers. But the wonder of it all captivated the both of us, enough to dismiss our concerns for just long enough for everything to go awry. And once the dinosaurs were introduced and fully on display, I was surprised. They still looked good. Now, compared to a more modern movie, you'll probably see the age, but in just watching this film, they looked really good. The way CGI and animatronics were used was really effective and led to this whole movie being possible because, let's be honest, even if everything else was immaculate, was perfect, if the dinosaurs looked sorry, the allure of Jurassic Park would be lost. And this movie wouldn't be able to evoke that sense of wonder that I spoke about earlier and that is just so intrinsically attached to Jurassic Park. Now, alongside the good-looking effects, the acting was also really good. The way the actors reacted and responded to the various creatures was believable and really saw what was happening on screen. I think the cast had fairly good chemistry on screen, with the children especially. They won me over. They were both good at being annoying, yet by the time the movie came to a close, I found that, similar to Dr. Grant, I had a soft spot for them. The actors did a really good job of riding the line enough to feel like children and to be kind of annoying like children, but they didn't stay annoying and childish throughout the entirety of the movie, if that makes sense. Now, the actual story of Jurassic Park was simple but effective. The reasons why the guests were brought there made sense. The super rich guy needed their sign-off to please the park's investors, and that's believable enough. The science behind how the dinosaurs were able to be recreated was alright, I guess. I barely passed biology in high school, so what would I know? These parts of Jurassic Park were necessary for world building, but it did kind of bore me a bit. No, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible, but I do wish that these moments could have taken up a bit less time. I was looking forward to seeing people try to survive the dangers of Dinosaur Island, and it wasn't until about 40 minutes in that the dangers presented themselves. Now, this could all very well just be a me thing, right? I understand the necessity of world building and setting up the plot, but I was surprised by how long it took to do all these things and get everything going. That being said, once everything went off the rails, it was off to the races. The way the tension was built up with the T-Rex was sublime. And even though I just discussed my dislike for how long it took to get to this point, once the moment was here, the slow buildup was perfect. The way both the visual and audio components worked together to craft the tension really caught my attention, and the way the T-Rex entered the scene was jaw-dropping. Now, typically, I'm not the biggest fan of dark scenes. Well, let me rephrase that. Typically, I'm not the biggest fan of poorly done dark scenes. When it's hard to see what's happening, I find myself more frustrated than anything else. But this scene was handled spectacularly. It was dark enough to add an air of mystique and uncertainty, but it was lit well enough to see what needed to be seen. Using the cover of darkness to obscure the threat that's lurking mere feet away, while also using the lit car to showcase the occupants' gradual shift from boredom to terror was brilliant, and made this the perfect opening scene for the descent into chaos. Seeing the cast struggle to survive was the best part of this movie, in my opinion. The ways they were forced to adapt and adjust to what they were dealing with while leaning on prior knowledge was entertaining. And the way the cast was split up was a really good choice. Now, there was a subtle foreshadowing that Dr. Grant would eventually be stuck with the children, and I appreciate that. And the relationship that was developed in response to this, with Dr. Grant getting closer to Tim and Lex, was a great addition to the film. I liked how the tension and fear of the situation they were in was paired with the heartfelt moments of interaction and bonding between Dr. Grant and the kids. This reality was perfect in pushing the dual nature of this experience and this movie as a whole. By having both of these components of the story exist simultaneously, they're each highlighted as they contrast the other. The tension and care that was displayed on screen and felt while watching it was simply great. I enjoy the down moments of interaction between those three, and I equally enjoy the moments where they were confronted by the dangerous prehistoric beasts. That being said, the scenes with the rest of the cast were less interesting, except for the scenes with Dennis Nedry. Now, Nedry, in my opinion, was an absolute stud. He was entertaining to follow, and I found myself rooting for his success, oddly enough. In contrast, the other characters that were at the main facility were noticeably less interesting to me. Now, I'm pretty sure this is mostly because they had nothing to do for a bit, because once Dr. Sattler and co. went to turn on the generators, I was reinvested in their story. So basically, when the movie shifted focus away from the fight for survival and went to the laboratory and the coding-centric scenes, my interest noticeably decreased, unless Dennis Nedry was present. When he was present, my eyes were glued to the screen because the actor did a great job. The character was just so easy to dislike. I just liked him. I just like Nedry. I do. Now, when the Raptors became the main antagonists of the movie, that was a pretty fun time. I love the direct foreshadowing of the Raptors opening doors due to their intelligence and how they pose a unique threat, given their unique combination of teamwork, intellect, and ferocity. While the T-Rex was imposing, there's just something different about being chased down by a pack of raptors, and that injects the moments that they were in with a unique type of desperation. Overall, I really enjoyed Jurassic Park. The premise is simple enough, and the execution was just outstanding. The biggest standout was the sense of wonder and just awe that I felt while watching this. In the moments where the cast's lives weren't in danger, and they were simply just witnessing these magnificent creatures, I was also captivated. The idea of something like Jurassic Park existing is enticing. I can understand why someone would desire something like this, besides the money. The money also makes sense, but besides the money, I can see why. But that feeling existed alongside the reality that if this were to exist, it would no doubt come at the cost of someone's life or some people's lives at some point in time. I'm happy I decided to rewatch the original that started the franchise, and I see why people speak about this movie in such a positive way. Now, I'm planning on doing another video on the second Jurassic Park, so if you're interested in that, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching this video, and since you subscribed, I will be seeing you in the next one. So, if everything goes according to plan, the video on the second Jurassic Park should be out 24 hours after this one's out. Right? It should be. So look out for that. Also, I realized after watching this movie, I haven't seen this one. At least I don't recall seeing this one. The memories I had of watching Jurassic Park were actually from Jurassic Park 3, which is interesting. So I don't know if I've ever actually seen Jurassic Park before watching for this video, but there's a possibility that I haven't, which just, like I said before about the whole nostalgia and whatnot, I may not have seen actually this movie before now, which is very interesting. But I like it. I think the sense of wonder really does just like, it does something. Like it just does something. I really enjoyed this more than I expected to. So yeah.